Hello viewers, myself Dr. KSR Radhika, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRKR Engineering College, Bhimavaram. Now I am going to explain the different topics of design and analysis of algorithms. Today's topic is quicksort. So now we are going to see how the quicksort algorithm has been implemented using divide and conquer technique. So quicksort, already you have seen the quicksort algorithm in the data structure subject in the different sorting techniques. So there you have an idea of the quicksort, but at that time you don't know that this is the concept that has been developed using divide and conquer. So now in this class, now we will see how the quicksort algorithm has been implemented using the divide and conquer technique. First of all, I will tell you what is the divide and conquer technique in the case of quicksort. So now we are going to see a sorting algorithm that is based on the sorting algorithm quicksort technique based on divide and conquer strategy. So in this, so what, first of all, we will see what is meant by quicksort. So what is quicksort? So whenever we have different sorting techniques, so we have so many different internal sorting techniques. So in that one of the sorting technique is quicksort. And already when you have studied all these different sorting techniques, you have already studied that quicksort is the best sorting algorithm. So that is based upon the, we say that based upon the time complexity and the space complexity. Okay, so first of all, what is meant by quicksort? So whenever you are performing the quicksort, what is the main technique? What is the main thing that we are doing here is, so for each iteration, an element will be selected as a pivot, and that particular element, after the completion of the iteration, it will be placed in its right position. So an element will be selected as a pivot, and after the completion of the iteration, the element will be placed in its right position. So right position means what? So what is its position in the sorted order? In its place, it will be placed. So that is what will be done in the case of quicksort. Suppose if you, so that means what? Suppose if one element is selected, so for one iteration, that particular element will be placed. So that means how many iterations will be done here? So suppose if you have 10 elements in your list, so then 10 iterations will be done for your quicksort. So, and first of all, what is the, how this particular quicksort will be performed? So this is mainly very much useful for very long lists. So why we are saying it is useful for long lists? So because the time complexity of quicksort is less when compared with other sorting techniques. So whenever the n value is large, so definitely the difference in the time complexity will be so much more. So that's why we say that this works fine on long list. So how this quicksort is implemented. So and also we told that here this is implemented using divide and conquer. So now we will see how it is implemented using divide and conquer. So what it will do is, it works recursively by first selecting a pivot. It works recursively by first selecting a pivot, and selection of pivot also we have so many strategies. So generally at the student level, just we will say you select the first element in the list as the pivot. You select the first element in the list as the pivot. So Selecting the pivot also we have so many strategies. So first you will select the first element as the pivot. In some cases you will take the median of the first, last and the middle element, like that. So there are so many selecting strategies. So first you will select the pivot, and from and in the list of elements, what you will do is you will find the right position of your pivot. So after finding the right position of the pivot will be placed in that particular right position. After being placed, so the elements to the left of the pivot, and that becomes the left sublist, and the elements to the right of the pivot becomes the right sublist. So the elements to the right of the left of the the elements to the left of the pivot will be less than the pivot, and the elements to the right of the list will be greater than the pivot. So now what you will do is just you will divide the list into two halves. You will divide the list in the two halves, as in the case of binary search. So what you will do? You will divide the elements in the left sublist as from the first element to the element before the pivot, and right sublist as the element after the right sublist to the last element. So like this, the list is divided into two parts, that is two sublists. So that means, did we get the concept of divide? We got the concept of divide. So then what we will do? Again, we will call the same quicksort algorithm for the left sublist, and also again you will call the quicksort algorithm for the right sublist. So this is done recursively until all the elements in the list are sorted. So that means here the problem of sorting is given, a list is reduced to the problem of sorting two sublists, and the process continues until the list is sorted. So this is what is meant by quicksort. So these are the rules that we follow. So rules means almost procedure. So first of all, what you will do, so generally we will place the maximum element at n+1th location, and first of all you will select a pivot. So already I told that the selecting the pivot will have, there are so many strategies for selecting the pivot. So you can select the first element, or you can select the median of three elements, that is the first, last and middle. Like that you can use any of the selection procedure for selecting the pivot. So generally in the BTech level, just we will select, we say that it is easy for you to select the first element as the pivot. So that's why what we are saying. So first you are selecting the pivot, that is P is equal to A of 1. So first initially what will be the size of your list? It will be what are the lower and the upper index of your list? 1 and n. So that's why the first element will be A of 1. So that is assigned as P, that is pivot. And next you will assign the indexes after the pivot and the last index. So that is I is assigned. So that means you have to compare the elements after the pivot and before the n+1th element. So that's why what you are doing, you are giving I is equal to 1 and j is equal to n+1. So now from now onwards, what you will do is you will give a loop for I and you will give a loop for j. So how these I and j will be moved are, so you will select the element at A of I and you will check with the pivot. If the element at A of I is greater than the pivot, the loop starts. Similarly for j, you will select the element at A of j and you will compare with the pivot. Suppose if the element at P of j is less than pivot, so then again j will stop. So why these two loops are given is, so I told that suppose after one iteration of your loop, so the pivot will be placed in its right position, and once the pivot is placed in its right position, the elements less than the pivot will be on the left hand side, and the elements greater than the pivot will be on the right hand side. So that's why what we are doing here, we are finding an element that is greater than pivot with I. And with j, you are finding an element that is less than pivot. So after getting those two elements, then what you will do is you will, if suppose if I is less than j, so then what you will do? So because the small elements must be on the left hand side and the larger elements must be on the right hand side. So that's why what you will do? You will swap the element at a of I and a of j. So like this, this process continues until I crosses j. That is, I becomes greater than j. So that means the elements are over. So like this, the process continues. So once, so this process, if I is less than j, the interchange values a of I and a of j will be, this process continues. This process continues. So it will continue until the elements, that is the I becomes greater than or equal to j. So that means, so now here the j will stop at I greater than or equal to j. So now you have the jth location. Now the jth location becomes the correct position for your pivot P. So that's why now you will swap the a of I and a of 1 and a of j. So now the pivot is placed in its right position. The right position for P is j. So once, that means once the pivot is placed in its right position, so that is, it is sorted. So now you will divide the list into two halves. So how it will divide the list into two halves? So the left sublist becomes a of 1 to a of j minus 1 and the right sublist becomes a of j plus 1 to a of n. So now again the same procedure will be repeated for this left sublist and for this right sublist. So this is what will happen in the case of quicksort. So this process continues until the total list is sorted. So now we will see the example. So this is an example. So here you have how many elements? 8 elements. We have 8 elements. So first of all, I told that a of 1 must be selected as the pivot. So here what are the starting and the ending indexes of your list? It is 1 and 8. 1 and 8. 1 is the starting index and 8 is the ending index. So now what you have to do is, first of all, you have to select a of 1 as pivot. So now here 65, which is in red color, this is the pivot. It has been selected. So next I told that you have to assign the value of I as 1 and the j as n plus 1. So that is, it will be placed here. So then I told that you have to move the I towards the right. That is, you should increment I such that you find an element that is greater than pivot. So now from I, what is the value of I now? It is 1. What is the value of I? It is 1. So now what will happen? I will be incremented. So it will become 2. Now again, it will compare the element with the pivot. That is 75 and 65 are compared. Is 75 greater than 65? Yes, it is true. So that means the I should stop when it finds an element that is greater than pivot. So that's why where the I loop will stop. So it will stop here. Similarly, j, it is here first initially. So it should be decremented. I will be incremented here because it should move towards the right, and j will be decremented because here j should move towards the left. So before, where is I? Where is j? It is at 9. So first of all, it will be decremented. So then again, the element at index j, that is 45, will be checked with, it will be checked with the pivot. So here the j should move towards the left until it find an element less than the pivot. So here 45 is less than pivot. So that's why what will happen? J will stop here. So I loop will stop at 75 and j loop will stop at 45. So now we have to check whether I is less than j or not. So it is less than because I is 2 and j is 8. So it is less than. So now what we have to do? So if it is less than means you have to swap a of I and a of j. So 45 will come here. So see in this step, and this 75 will come to the index 8. So here. So this swapping is over. Next, again this process repeats until your I and j crosses. Okay. So now what happens? Now here the I is at 2. So now again it will be incremented. So and it will check the 80 with your pivot. So I told that you should move I value towards the left, towards the right. Sorry, it is towards the right until it find an element that is greater than the pivot. So here 80 is greater than pivot. So that's why again where the I will stop. It will stop at 80. That is index 3. Similarly for J. So J should move towards the left. That is it should be decremented. So it is decremented from 8 to 7. So that is 7. And it will compare this 50 with the pivot. That is 65. So it should stop until it find an element less than the pivot. Here 50 is less than 65. So that's why J will stop here. Again the same process. I is less than or less than J or not. Yes, it is less than. Then what I told, it should, these two values must be swapped. So now this 50 comes to the index 3 and this 80 comes to the index 7. So again the I will move to the next position. From 3 it will come to 4 because it is incremented. Now again it will check 85 with 65. It is greater than. So it will stop here. Next again J, from 7 it will come to 6 because it is decremented. Again it will check 55 with 65. So 55 is less than 65. So that's why again J will stop here. So again I is less than J. So again swap these two. 55 will come to 4th location and your 85 will come to which location? 6th location. So now again I will be incremented. It will come to 60. So if you take 60, 60 is, if first of all I comes to 60, 60 is less than 65. I told that the I should move towards the right until it find an element greater than pivot. So but here 60 is less than pivot. So that's why again I will move to the next position. What is the next position? It is 85 because here we have swapped these two. So that's why 85 will come here. So now once I comes to this position, what happens? 85 is greater than 65. So that's why I will stop here. Now where is J? It is at 6. So it should be decremented. It will come to 60. So is 60 less than 65? So now J will come to 60 because it is decremented, but 60 is less than 65. So we will move the J until it find an element less than pivot. So 60 is less than. So J will stop here and I will stop here. But what happens to the condition of I less than J? It fails. So that's why will these two numbers swap? No, they won't be swapped because here I is not less than J. So the iteration stops here now. After the completion of this part, then what you have to do is you have to swap the pivot and the A of jth element. That is the element at the jth index. So that is 60 and 65 will be swapped for you. So that now 60 comes to the first location and your 65 comes to the 5th location. So this is this one. So now if you observe, so once you got the 65 here, so now it has divided the list into 2 sublists. So from 1 to 4 one list and from 6 to 8 another list. If you see, you can find all the elements less than the 65 to the left sublist and the elements greater than the 65 on the right sublist. So that means what? So after sorting also, your 65 will be placed at index 5 only. Isn't it? So that's why you can just leave this element now. You can just leave this element and you can divide the list into 2 sublists. That is the left sublist and the right sublist. Now again, this total process will be continued for the left sublist and also for the right sublist. So again, this total process from this step to this step. The total process is it is being implemented for both the lists. So until you get the sorted list of size 8. So now here you got the sorted list of size 1. So like this you will get sorted list of 111. If you combine all those sorted lists, then you will get the final list of 8 elements. So now this, you can see this left sublist and right sublist. So now this is the left sublist. So now again your pivot will be selected. So the same process, I and J. So here 60 is greater than 55. So that's why J will come here. And if you take 45, it is less than 55. So it will come here. 50 less than 55. It will come here. And again 60. So that's why I will stop here and J will stop here. So because both has been crossed, then what happens? So if they have not been crossed means you will swap these two, but they are crossed. So crossed means the complete process of moving the I and J is over. So now what you have to do? You have to swap the pivot and the jth element. So that is the 50 will come here and 55 will come to the jth location. So now the 50 is placed in its right position. Again, it will divide the list into again two parts. One list is 50 and 45. That is this one. This is left sublist. And this list is what? The 55 is placed in its right position. That is 3, index 3. And the right sublist contains only 60. The right sublist contains only 60. So now again this small list, that is which is having only 2 elements. Again this should be again implemented the same process. That is 50 becomes the pivot and I will start here, J will start here. Again the process continues, and similarly this you got the 45 sorted at index 1 and 50 sorted at index 2. And this 55 already we got here, and 60 one element. So that's why we can say that this is sorted at 4. Similarly, the right sublist is also taken. So 85, 80 and 75. 85 becomes pivot and the I and J. So we'll move. So they came to these positions. So the jth position becomes the pivot position. So 85 will come to 8, index 8, and 75 will come to index 6. So once 85 comes here, so this side we don't have any elements. So that means what? So we don't have any right sublist. We have only left sublist with 75 and 80. Again with these 2 elements, again the same process. 75 is taken as the pivot and I and J will start and the process continues, and you got the 75 at index 6 and 80 at index 7 and 85 at index 8. So now what you have to do is, this is the total process of dividing is over and also getting the solutions is also over. Now later what you have to do? You have to combine all these sub-solutions. Here what are the sub-solutions? So 85 is at 8. It is one sub-solution. Next 80 is at 7. This is one sub-solution. 75 is at 6. This is another sub-solution. Similarly 60 is at 4. So you have to place 60 at 4. Similarly 55 at 3. So 55 at 3. Next 50 at 2 and 50 at 2 and 45 at 1. So 50 at 2 and 45 at 1. And the starting one, what is that one? What is your starting value? 65. 65 at 5. That is also placed. 65 at 5. So that means the dividing process is over. Getting the solutions for all the sub-problems is over. And then combining the solutions of all the sub-problems is over. So once you have combined the solutions for all the sub-problems, did you get the list that has been sorted? Yes. Now the list is sorted. So this is how your quicksort algorithm will work. So this is the quicksort algorithm, whatever we have shown in our example. So here you will call the quicksort algorithm with P and Q. So here what are P and Q? The starting and the ending indexes of your list. So if P is less than Q, then what we are doing? We are saying J is equal to partition of A comma P comma Q plus 1. So we are giving 1 and Q means what here? N. That is the size of our list plus 1. Why we are giving that one? Because we are decrementing the J and we are incrementing the I value. So these three parameters are given for partition algorithm. So in this partition algorithm, I have shown the iteration. This total iteration, this part is called as partition. So here why we are saying it as partition? Because here you are getting the J, that is 5, the index 5, that is J value. So if you get that 5, that is the index value of, that is the correct position of 65, that is your pivot, then only you can divide the list into 2 halves. So that's why for that one you are using partition algorithm. So partition of A comma 1 comma Q plus 1. So it will give you J. So it will give you J. So now if you get the J, then what you can do? Again, you can call the quick sort for the starting index P comma J minus 1. And again, you can call this is for left sublist and this is for right sublist. That is quick sort of J plus 1 comma Q. Okay. So for left sublist, again your quick sort algorithm is called. And again for right sublist also, again your quick sort is called. So like this, the process continues recursively until you get the solutions for all the subproblems. That is, the division will be done until it becomes small. That is one element until it becomes small. That is, it becomes a list of one element means it is already sorted. So until then, this process continues. So now we will see the partition algorithm. The partition algorithm, here pivot is equal to A of M. So here M is 1. So here we have sent 1 and N plus 1. And J is equal to this P means it is N plus 1. So now you are giving the repeat loop. So this process is done repeatedly. So and you are giving one loop for I and another loop for J. One loop for I and another loop for J. So I is incremented until when? Until A of I is greater than or equal to pivot. Similarly, J is decremented until A of J is less than or equal to pivot. So now these two will stop at some position. I will stop at an element that is greater than pivot and the J will stop at an element that is less than pivot. If I is less than J, then what we are doing? We are swapping A of I and A of J. So this part from here to this swap, this is the part that this is the part. So from this step to this step. So from these 4 steps, this part is done here. This repeat of I, repeat of J, and if I is less than J, then A of I and A of J are swapped. So this total process is done until again the same condition I is greater than until I is greater than or equal to J. So that is when I crosses J. So if I crosses J, what we are doing here? If I crosses J, now J came here and I came here. So I and J have been crossed. So now what we are doing? The final step. You are swapping the pivot, that is A of 1 and A of J. So now what you are doing? You are swapping A of P, that is A of J and the pivot. Pivot is what here? A of 1. So finally you are returning J. So this is the algorithm for quicksort. And the next one is time complexity. So whenever you are comparing the time complexities, so in order to decide which is the best algorithm, we will use the time complexity analysis. Suppose if so here when we say that the elements are of best cases, so we say that suppose if the elements contains some same elements, so then it becomes the best case. So suppose if they are same elements means then what happens? It will divide the list into equally 2 parts. Okay. So then what happens? Your recurrence relation will become 2C of n by 2. plus n. N is for division and this is for again combine. So this is the recurrence relation. So again you will solve this recurrence relation by using substitution method. That is n is equal to 2 power k. Then again k is equal to log n base 2. So now you will substitute for in this expression you have to substitute for n is equal to n by 2. So then what happens? 2 into C of n by 2 by 2. That is n by 2 square plus n plus 1. So in this place n plus 1 you have to substitute n by 2. N by 2 plus 1 plus this n by 2. This n by 2. So this total part is for Cn by 2. So and the remaining you have to write as it is, that is n plus 1. So now if you simplify this one, this is 2 into 2, 2 square, C n by 2 square plus if you simplify this one, you will get 2n plus 1 plus 2. So you have to generalize like this. So then what happens? Again, if you substitute for 3 means, that is again 1 by third time. That is again, if you substitute n is equal to n by 2, then what you will get? 2 cube C n by 2 cube plus 3n plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 square like this. So if you again continue the process like this, for k times you will get 2 power k C of n by 2 power k plus this will become kn. And here you will get 1 plus 2 plus 2 square plus so on. For 3 it is 2 square. So that's why for k it will become 2 power k minus 1. So like this, if you divide the list to go on, so on like that. So then what you will get? You will get a list of size 1 element. So that is n is equal to 1. That is C of 1. C of 1 is 0. Next, you will get for kn. So kn means here k is how much? Log n base 2. So that's why this n will be as it is. So n log n plus this will become how much? 2 power k minus 1. So if you simplify, then out of all this, you will get n big O of n log n. So this is for best case. Similarly, you can also compute for worst case and also average case. So worst case means what? Yeah, we say that the pivot element is fixed in the extreme position of the list in each partition. So that means it will divide the list as one list contains no elements and the other list contains the total remaining elements. So that becomes the worst case. So then what will be the recurrence relation? So C of it will have only one list. In the best case, it is dividing the list into two equal halves. But in the case of worst case, it will divide the list such that one list contains no elements and the other list contains complete all the elements. So that's why what we are doing here, we are giving C of n minus 1 plus this is same n plus n plus 1. So now again you do the same process. So that is for n you substitute n minus 1. So it will become C n minus 2. So n minus 1 minus 1 means n minus 2 plus in this n place you have to give n minus 1. So n minus 1 plus n plus 1. So now you simplify that one. So you will get, so that is n minus 1 plus n plus 1 like this. So like if you simplify like this, so on like that, you will get 3 plus 4 plus so on plus n plus 1. So now this C of 1 will become 0. So this series will become n into n plus 2 by 2. So all these constants if you remove, then it will become n. Okay, so and this is the average case. Average case you have to take the sigma. That is from k minus, you have to take the sigma of all the cases and you have to substitute like this and you should get the solution. That is n log n. You will get n log n. So this is about the time complexity of quicksort. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.